And in whichever position you choose to start in, let it feel comfortable. And we're letting ourselves drift into the zone of peacefulness. So take 10 deep breaths, counting back from 10 down to 1. Don't need to do anything else other than just observe. Observe what you feel. Observe what happens. And the next point of focus is to allow each and every muscle in your body to relax. You can almost just give yourself the permission to stop holding on. Because it's in this relaxed state that we want to maintain for the rest of the hour. So taking just a little bit of movement, I'm hoping you've got your blocks within arm's reach or something similar. You just need one. You're going to place it underneath your hips. Under the bony part of the pelvis. And then straighten one leg out, bend the other knee and draw it in towards the chest. Staying in a relaxed state as you go. Aiming for the hip of the longer leg to feel open. You can play around with the positioning of your block, of the block height. So you can have it on the lowest setting, medium setting. You can even have it on the highest setting, as long as one, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall over, and two, if it's actually comfortable for your lower back, because it may not be comfortable and it may cause you to overarch the lower back. So it does feel quite nice being that extra a little bit higher, but also we want to remain comfortable and be able to maintain. So in a place without stress. In a place where you're not holding yourself in the position. Starting to create a longer exhalation now. And within that exhalation, feel the joints in your hands soften. Shoulders soften. The back of the spine soften into the ground. Remember staying in that point of complete relaxation. I often think that you know that you're in that place if the thought of moving right now like really pulls you. Taking 5 more deep breaths. At the end of your 5 breaths, make a little bit of movement, bending the lengthened leg and placing the other foot softly to the ground, and then transitioning over to the other side, in your own time and doing anything else your body needs in the meantime. One side might instantly feel looser than the other, one side might noticeably be tighter. But don't worry too much about that. Just be in the moment of each sensation that you feel. Taking 10 more breaths from this point. Allowing the exhalation to be as effortless as possible. So just visualizing your stomach, or the bottom of your diaphragm really, releasing the air. And following its journey. So we're not actively guiding it out anywhere. We're not telling it where to go. At the end of your 10 breaths, welcome the movement back into the body. Squeezing the bottom of the hips away from the block. Melting yourself back down to the floor. And then rolling over onto one side. Oh, I say one side, roll over onto your front even. Make sure you've got a little bit of space reaching either side of you. And then you're going to slide your left arm out, right hand rests by the side of your chest. Roll over onto the left side of the body. Top leg bends, slide it round. And then if you can catch hold of it here with the bottom hand. If it gets nowhere near, it doesn't matter. You don't have to. You can even find the foot with the top hand if you'd rather. Creating a solid surface area by bending the bottom knee. Or make it work for your body today. It's entirely up to you. Again, just find the comfort here. If your body's asking for cushions in certain places, fill the space. You can even place something underneath the knee, the lifted leg, the bent leg even, just so you can then collapse onto it and relax over it. Yeah, think about rolling out of the shoulder that's at the bottom. Almost encouraging the shoulder blades to draw towards one another. If you're catching your foot, search for the stretch through your quad, whether that's by squeezing the heel into your bum or just pulling the knee behind the hip a little further. Just taking 3 more deep breaths. So breathe space right into the front of the body now. Feel a sense of freedom. Space in the joints. Lightness in your breath. And slowly letting go of where you're holding on to. Rolling back onto your front. Swapping the arms over. Rolling over onto that side of the body. Just checking that your hips are stacked over one another. That the knees not lifting them too high up. Just let the inner thigh drop down. And just imagining how much space you can create with a relaxed inhalation. And we observe the areas of tension and tightness. And then as we exhale, we let those areas go. And just 5 more deep breaths. And then slowly make your way out of the pose. Or sitting yourself up. Sliding left leg out onto the diagonal. Tuck the sole of the right foot towards the inner thigh. And then side bending over towards the toes. And then here, because we are going to be here for at least 1 minute, make yourself comfortable. So maybe bend the elbow, let it cradle the top of your head. Bottom hands, you can create a rest for your head to lay on. Or not, or place a block underneath the elbow to support it and to raise it up a little higher if it's too intense of a side bend. But the goal is the side bend. So we imagine that we're rotating the chest to look underneath the armpit. And anchoring both sides of your sit bones down. And with each breath, the right side of your rib cage widens, lifts higher. And allows all the muscles attaching to find ease. At the end of your next exhalation, we're going to move ourselves from the side bend, square the chest over the leg, and then fold forwards. Feel free to place a block or a cushion underneath the knee. If the hamstring or the lower back's feeling particularly tight. Or another way to advance your forward fold, if you wish, is to maybe place the block at the end of the foot and hold on to either end. Yeah, it all depends on your dimensions and your biomechanics, whether you can actually reach that far. So don't worry if it doesn't happen. Or a belt around the block to make you reach it or to help you reach it. And then even though we're staying in that relaxed state that we've been in, visualize your leg reaching into the block if it's there, or if the block isn't there, into that general direction. Back of the leg melts into the ground. And relax around the shoulders, the neck, the upper back, traveling down the length of the spine into the lower back. Taking 5 more deep breaths. At the end of those 5 breaths, slowly walk yourself back up. You may feel a little bit of stiffness in your lower back if that wasn't an area of tightness for you. So be mindful of that. And then swap the legs over. Right leg slides out, left sole of foot tucks into the inner thigh. Side bending towards the right side this time. Or just make sure it's the opposite side. And feel that space from one armpit to the other armpit widen. The bottom armpit, so the right one pushes forwards a little, whilst the top armpit, the left one, draws back. Yeah, 1 minute can feel like quite a long time in this pose. But accept the challenge. Accept where it's a struggle to stay. And know that you can stay there. And the less you fight it, the easier it becomes. Turn over the length of your right leg. Make some little adjustments if you need. Draw the belly in. Again, you can pad underneath the knee just to give a little bit of support there. Or place the block at the end of the foot. So another good reason why this is good for your leg is that it helps to stretch your calf out if we maintain this flexed foot position. And often it's hard to maintain a flexed foot and remain relaxed at the same time, which is why the block is useful here. So again, don't force yourself into a place which is uncomfortable. You can use a belt or a strap to help you reach it. And you can even use the block underneath the forehead so the neck doesn't hang and elongate, causing tension in the back of the neck. Just taking 5 more deep breaths here. At the end of your 5 breaths, slowly walk yourself back in. Take the time to do anything that your body needs. We're going to sit with the right leg in front, the right leg tucked in, the left leg in front of the right leg, or left leg on top of the right leg for half lotus. Feel free to have the ankle a little lower down, or if this position feels unobtainable, have this option instead, and then you can always, instead of resting on your hands, you can always lean up against a wall to make that bit more comfortable. You may notice that one side lifts up a little bit higher. If it does, feel the space. So then you can then let go of the muscle contraction that's holding you up in that position. So anytime that you feel that there's space, fill it with things to make yourself more comfortable. And then so we've got left leg on top. Unless you're in the other one with the arms behind you, we're going to take the left hand up, right hand over onto the elbow, guide the elbow in and slide the arm down the back. And then just take a hinge forwards. The hinge is just enough to allow you to get like a stretch through the glute on the left side. Press the centre of the chest forwards a little bit more. Stop the upper back from rounding too much. I'm going to be here for another 20 seconds. Let the arm go, bring your hands to the floor, and then fold over the leg. Again, you can be higher here, just relaxing the elbows so we're not putting too much weight on the arms. Or if you find that you need to, you can place your forearms on blocks instead. You can even place your head on a block instead. Find the comfort in the challenge. Taking 5 more breaths. At the end of your 5 breaths, slowly climb your way out. Swap the legs round. So this time the left leg goes underneath, right leg is going to sit on top, either over the shin or place the ankle above the knee. Sit bones evenly placed. This time right hand down the centre of the back. Take hold of the elbow with the left hand. Pull the elbow into the side of the head and the hand down at the centre of the back. Find that little hinge forwards so the back remains long and straight. We just close the front of the hips. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then bringing the hands down to the floor. Finding your version of the fold over the legs. Sometimes it can help to keep your foot in a flexed position here as well, just so it keeps that ankle kind of rigid. If your ankle's like too much of at a bend here, it can overstretch the ligaments on the outside. So just be mindful of that. And then observe the tiny little sensations that you feel around the outside of your hip once you've found your position. Breathing out, can you aim those sensations downwards? So almost trying to push the sensation down into the floor. Taking 5 more breaths here. At the end of those 5 breaths, lift yourself up away from the floor, unhook the leg, and then you're going to lay down onto your back, taking the feet off the floor, maybe placing a block in between the legs, and it's pulling the knees up towards the chest a little, shoulders down, roll over onto that side. If you can't get your legs close to the floor without your shoulder lifting off, place a block underneath the bottom leg as well. We're not going to be here for too long, but upper body is your anchor. Let the lower body feel like it can relax. Softening the backs of the wrists. At the end of the next exhalation, lift the legs up, bring them over to the other side. Good idea to stack something underneath cushions. A great way to provide comfort. Taking one final deep breath in. And then slowly moving to the centre of the mat, removing the block from the legs, settling into a comfortable position, whether that's on your back, on the side, in the front, or whether it's seated. Whether it's surrounded by cushions or blankets.
allowing each breath to feel complete in its journey. Finding the effortlessness in the exhalation. Letting the diaphragm empty, which feels like the belly falling. The internal pressure guides the breath out. Letting the breath go through the nose without forcing it through the nose, by just keeping the mouth shut. Refreshed and satisfied by the inhalation, supported and grounded by the exhalation. Counting the breaths from 10 down to 1. Refreshed as you breathe in, grounded as you breathe out. At the end of the next exhalation, whether it's your 10th one or not, start to welcome the movement back in. Do whatever comes instinctively here. And then in your own time, in your own way, bring yourself back up to seated.